Good morning to you all. Hope you are all good. Today we are on Psalm 34 and we're going to look at just a few verses. So I want to encourage you to read the whole psalm at some point today, whether you want to pause me right now or whether you want to read it later. That would be great. So verse 1 and 2 says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul makes its boast in the Lord. Let the humble hear and be glad. Then verse 8 goes on to say, Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Now, the circumstances in which David wrote these words were anything but good. And you can read all about it in 1 Samuel 21. When David cried out, Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good, it was despite what he was suffering, not because he was being flooded with blessings. He had resolved, no matter what came, no matter how hard life got, no matter who betrayed or hurt him, I will bless the Lord at all times. So, what was going on? What was anything but good for David at that time? Well, he had not yet been crowned king. He was being ruthlessly hunted by the current king of Israel, Saul, a man of incredible power and resources and even more jealousy and anger. David narrowly escapes and flees. But if the enemy at home wasn't enough, he runs into the hands of another king in nearby Gath, Achish, who immediately becomes jealous and hostile towards David. So David then pretends to be insane so that they will not kill him. And as a result, they let him go. And David flees and hides in a cave with 400 of his men. And many commentators believe that this psalm was written there and then sung or read in that cave. So after all that had happened, David then writes, Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. You see, David knew that refuge with the Lord in the midst of danger is far better than the comfort of safety without him. So, were all David's fears gone? Definitely not. David was still facing 1,000 more problems at that time, but that didn't keep him from celebrating the grace of God for this answered prayer, for this deliverance. He was able to keep all the cares of the world at bay long enough to say, I sought the Lord, I asked of the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears, which it tells us in verse 4. We will discover that God had not delivered David from all that he feared at that point, but he had delivered him today. Faith in a sovereign and gracious God freed David to rejoice and give thanks in today's deliverance, today's victory, today's mercy, even while tomorrow's troubles storm the gates of his mind. David encourages us to take refuge in the God whose eyes are toward the righteous and his ears towards their cry, which it says in verse 15. Now, our circumstances today are hopefully not the same as David's. We are not being hunted by a ruthless king. But right now, you may feel that anything but good is happening with all that is going on in the world. Stress, disappointment, fear can begin to drown our hope and joy in God. And we need to remember that God's new mercy meets us each morning. Lamentations 3:22 and 23 assures us of that. And yet we can often be too consumed by tomorrow's troubles to even notice. So David models stopping, even in the midst of ongoing uncertainty and distress, to see daily grace. And he calls us to join him in the peace and the confidence that seeing that brings. So this psalm is an invitation to take God at his word, to trust in him and experience his goodness firsthand. David is saying, taste and see. Go on, try it. You'll like it. You know, recently I watched an amazing clip on YouTube. And it was of a dad with a baby, and the dad had an ice cream cone in his hand. It was a great big dollop of ice cream on the end. And it said that it was the first time that they tried ice cream with this baby. So as the dad brings the cone, the baby is quite, oh yeah, whatever. And then he puts it on his lips like this. And the baby's eyes immediately do this. And he's like this, tasting. And suddenly this baby grabs the ice cream cone off his dad and just literally loves it. And I believe that's what David is trying to tell us. Taste God's goodness. And once you taste it while it's on your lips, oh, it's something that you'll never, ever want to leave, and you'll want more of. So God knows what you are going through right now, and he knows exactly what you need. And he is going to bring you to a faith and joy and life through the trials that you are facing, and that you wouldn't trade for anything. So today, I want to encourage us through this psalm to focus on the ways, small or large, that he has lovingly cared for you. I want to encourage you to taste and see that God, it really is good, and trust him for that grace to come again tomorrow. So have an amazing day. Thank you for listening.